Welcome back to the Glitch Report. Every week I open the news feeds expecting a nice, simple, well-adjusted industry, and every week the game dev gods look down, laugh maniacally, and dump a fresh wheelbarrow of burning garbage right onto my desk. This past week, it wasn't just garbage. It was a 5-course gourmet meal of financial meltdowns, eternal development hell, existential debates about robot artwork, and a new, stunning exhibition of corporate incompetence that reminds us why we can't look away. Let's dive right into the deep end, because if you're not swimming in controversy, how dare you even call yourself a gamer? We have to start with the robots, because apparently AI isn't just coming for our jobs. It's already here, and it's surprisingly busy making elevator music for D-list sequels. Get this, the Let It Die follow-up Inferno just slapped a big fat disclosure on its Steam page saying they used substantial generative AI for everything from background textures to in-game voices and music. This isn't just using AI to catch bugs, this is using AI to fill entire parts of the game's soul. And speaking of soul, this is where the industry tears itself apart. On one side, we have Epic Games boss Tim Sweeney, the guy who owns the engine half the industry runs on. He basically yelled into the void, saying Steam's mandatory AI disclosure policies make no sense because, quote, AI will be involved in nearly all future production. He mocked the whole idea, comparing it to developers disclosing what kind of shampoo they use. Right, Tim. Because my head and shoulders affects my intellectual property rights and the livelihoods of artists. Good analogy, A for effort, D for relevance. But then you have people who actually make great games stepping in. I'm talking about the director of the upcoming RPG The Blood of Dawnwalker, and a guy who knows a thing or two about making a hit, having directed The Witcher 3. He was pretty balanced, saying they use AI reasonably, like for quick voice testing before they hire actual talented voice actors. See, that's a tool, not a replacement. But his bottom line was firm, and I agree with him. Games created only with AI will have no soul. He basically said you need that creative human fire, that desire to tell a story, or a machine won't understand us enough to make anything good. You're right, Conrad. No machine could understand the pain of grinding for 80 hours only to find a rare piece of loot that's useless. That requires genuine human suffering. And that, my friends, is the perfect, terrifying segue from robot voices to human layoffs. Because while half the industry is debating whether AI can replace human creativity, the other half is proving that corporate boards don't need AI to replace human employees. They can do it the old-fashioned way, by running everything into the ground. Look at Splash Damage. The folks who brought us Gears Tactics just got acquired by some mystery private equity investors and then immediately announced a studio-wide consultation process leading to extensive redundancies. Why? Because they had a major project, Transformers Reactivate, get shelved. It's the cycle of doom. Big project fails, private money swoops in, and the first thing they restructure is the employment spreadsheet. But wait, it gets bigger. Remember Embracer, the company that bought every studio they could find, like a dragon hoarding mediocre IP? Well, their restructuring program is still limping along like a zombie that lost its legs. They just sold off Arc Games and Cryptic Studios, the folks behind Star Trek Online and Neverwinter, for a measly $30 million. Think about that. These are two established MMO studios with huge player bases getting dumped for pocket change. This entire company, which laid off thousands, closed dozens of studios, and dropped 80 projects, is just unraveling. It all stems from a massive $2 billion investment deal that collapsed last year. And guess who that money was reportedly coming from? The Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. And what's the news this week on that front? They're reportedly low on cash and limiting future investments. Oh, the sweet irony. The single greatest financial force trying to reshape the gaming landscape, the one that bought EA and funded Ubisoft DLCs, is apparently strapped for liquid capital, relying on hard-to-sell assets. It turns out even if you have a near $1 trillion fund, you can still over-leverage yourself on utopian desert cities and massive video game acquisitions. The moral of the story? Nothing is too big to fail, not even the endless pit of money. This brings us to the real development horrors, the projects that prove money can't buy competence or stop time. Let's pour one out for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Poor sales led to Paradox taking a massive £28 million write-down. The CEO, Frederick Wester, actually did something rare and noble. He took the blame. He said the game was outside their core wheelhouse of strategy games and they couldn't properly gauge its commercial viability. Fair enough, but the most important detail came from the former developer at the Chinese room who said the project was basically doomed the moment they called it Bloodlines 2, because it instantly created expectations that no development team, especially after the project switched hands, could ever meet. It's like naming your new budget car the Ferrari Enzo 2. You're asking for trouble. And then there's the aged champion of development hell, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Unbelievably, 17 years after its original announcement, Ubisoft is still hiring people for this game. 17 years. To put that in perspective, the original Beyond Good and Evil came out when I had significantly fewer back problems. They are actively looking for a technical sound designer. You know what that means? They probably just realized that after 17 years, the sound effects they recorded on a tape deck back in 2008 are no longer up to snuff. They just want someone to make sure the spaceship still goes pew pew and not crackle hiss. This game isn't in development hell, it's in a time warp. It's going to be released after the sun turns into a red giant. Which is why the news about The Witcher 4 is actually a breath of fresh air. CD Projekt Red's co-CEO straight up told everyone, no, there will be no new trailer at the Game Awards this year. They nominated for most anticipated game, which is nice, but they said development is well underway and they're keeping their powder dry. Thank you, CDPR. Thank you for knowing that when everything else is a chaotic fire, the best move is to put on some noise cancelling headphones, turn off the hype machine and just quietly make the game. A game that hopefully will have plenty of soul. And what else did the corporations manage to screw up royally? I'm talking about the Final Fantasy XIV FanFest accessibility debacle. While the community demanding proper access for disabled players is fantastic, Square Enix treated this essential human dignity like a bureaucratic hurdle they could outsource. The third-party vendor they hired created a system that is functionally anti-access and an Olympic-level failure. They're running a Kafkaesque hellscape of means testing, a single point of contact whose expertise is not even event accessibility, forces disabled attendees who check the ADA box into a humiliating, mandatory one-on-one phone call. Worse, you get a rigid, insulting 24-hour window to agree to the terms or you lose your request and restart the process. They are essentially asking thousands of fans to verbally justify their disability on a timer, making it a hostile interrogation designed to make people give up. Fans asked for a chair and Square Enix told them, call this one guy at 3 AM to beg for it. So there you have it, folks. We are living in an era where AI is creating the voices for the background characters. The richest fund in the world is running out of cash. Games announced before the iPhone came out are still hiring, and when people ask for a simple accommodation, they are forced into a hostile, timed phone interview with one overworked dude. This industry chews up human talent and spits out AI textures. But hey, at least we know The Witcher 4 won't be ruining our night at the Game Awards by showing up early. That's all the chaos we can cram into this episode. I'm exhausted, you're exhausted. Let's reconvene next week when Embracer accidentally sells its entire corporate office to the Saudi PIF for 10 cents and a coupon for a free coffee chain franchise.